The weight of dreams. In the heart of Cleveland, Ohio, where the Cuyahoga River bends like a tired sigh, Marcus Tate was born into a world that seemed to have already decided his fate. The year was 1995, and Marcus grew up in a cramped apartment in Hough, a neighborhood scarred by its past riots and persistent poverty. His mother, Loretta, worked double shifts at a diner, her hands rough from years of scrubbing plates. His father was a ghost, gone before Marcus could form memories of him. Life was a grind, and at 17, Marcus felt the weight of it pressing against his chest. He wasn't a dreamer in the romantic sense. Dreams to Marcus were dangerous. They teased you with hope, then left you stranded when reality hit. But he had ambition, raw and unpolished, like a coal lump waiting for pressure to turn it into something valuable. He wanted out, not just of Hough, but of the cycle that kept people like him tethered to survival. The problem was, he had no map, no guide, just a burning need to be more than what his circumstances allowed. Setback 1, the first hustle. At 18, Marcus dropped out of high school. Not because he was lazy, but because he was impatient. School felt like a treadmill, lots of motion, no progress. He'd seen too many kids graduate only to end up at dead-end jobs, or worse. He wanted to move faster. His first idea was simple: buy low, sell high. He'd overheard guys at the barbershop talking about flipping sneakers, how limited edition Nikes could fetch triple their retail price online. Marcus scraped together $200 from odd jobs, mowing lawns, washing cars, and bought his first pair of Air Jordans from a shady reseller on Craigslist. The sneakers were fake. He didn't know until he tried to sell them on eBay and got hit with a fraud complaint. The buyer demanded a refund. eBay froze his account, and Marcus was out $200 plus the cost of his pride. He could still hear his mother's voice, sharp as a blade. "You think you're smarter than everybody else, Marcus? You gotta earn your smarts." Lesson 1. Trust is expensive. He swore he'd never buy without verifying again. Setback 2. The college gamble. Humiliated but undeterred, Marcus pivoted. He enrolled in community college, thinking a degree might be his ticket out. He studied business, working nights at a warehouse to cover tuition. The classes were dry, but he soaked up everything: supply chains, marketing, accounting. He liked numbers. They were honest, unlike people. By 20, he was juggling a full course load and 40-hour work weeks, sleeping 4 hours a night. His grades were solid, but exhaustion was his shadow. Then came the car accident. A delivery truck ran a red light, T-boning Marcus's beat-up Honda. He walked away with a fractured wrist and a totaled car, but the real damage was time. He couldn't work with a cast, couldn't afford the bus every day, and fell behind in classes. The medical bills piled up, and Loretta's overtime wasn't enough. He dropped out again, this time with $8,000 in debt and no degree to show for it. Lesson 2. Life doesn't care about your plans. Marcus felt like he was running in quicksand, but he refused to sink. The spark. At 22, Marcus stumbled into his first real opportunity. He was working as a bar back at a downtown club, pouring drinks for people who spent his weekly pay on a single night out. One night, he overheard a group of tech bros talking about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin was at $600, a number that sounded absurd for something that didn't exist in the physical world. But Marcus listened, his ears tuned to possibility. He spent his breaks reading about blockchain on his cracked phone, using the club's Wi-Fi. It was a new frontier, no gatekeepers, no diplomas required. Just knowledge and nerve. He cashed out his last $500 in savings and bought Bitcoin. He didn't tell anyone, not even Loretta, who'd call it gambling. For months, he checked the price obsessively, watching it dip to $400, then climb to $800. By 2017, Bitcoin hit $10,000, and Marcus's $500 was worth $8,000. He sold half, paid off his medical bills, and bought more crypto: Ethereum, Ripple, anything with promise. He wasn't rich, but he was in the game. Setback 3. The crash. The crypto boom was intoxicating, but it didn't last. In 2010, the market crashed. Bitcoin plummeted, dragging everything else down. Marcus's portfolio, which had peaked at $15,000, shrank to $3,000 overnight. He'd been so sure of his instincts, so certain he'd cracked the code. Now he was back to scraping by, his confidence bruised. The club cut his hours, and he moved back into his mother's apartment, sleeping on a couch that smelled of mildew. He could have quit. Most would have. But Marcus had a stubborn streak, forged in the fires of Hough's unforgiving streets. He doubled down, spending nights studying market trends, reading white papers, learning about decentralized finance. He realized crypto wasn't just about trading, it was about building systems. That shift in perspective was his lifeline. Lesson 3. Failure is a teacher, but only if you listen. The pivot. By 2020, Marcus was 25 and hungry for a comeback. He'd landed a job as a delivery driver for a meal kit company, a gig that paid just enough to keep him afloat. But his real work happened after hours, in the glow of his laptop. He started developing a small app, a tool to help crypto beginners track their investments and avoid scams. He taught himself to code using free online courses, his fingers clumsy on the keyboard but relentless. The app was clunky, but it worked. He called it SafeCoin and released it for free on a crypto forum. The response was slow but steady. Users liked the simplicity, the way it flagged shady exchanges. By 2021, SafeCoin had 10,000 downloads, and Marcus was getting emails from people offering to pay for premium features. He didn't have the resources to scale, but he saw the potential. He needed capital, and he needed it fast. Setback 4. The investor trap. Marcus pitched SafeCoin to a venture capital firm in Columbus. He spent weeks polishing his presentation, practicing in front of a cracked bathroom mirror. The VCs were slick, all smiles and jargon, and they loved his app. They offered $100,000 for 40% of his company. Marcus, desperate and dazzled, almost signed. But something felt off. Their terms were predatory, locking him into a deal that would strip his control. He walked away, heart pounding, knowing he'd just turned down more money than he'd ever seen. He was broke again, back to driving for 12 hours a day, but he felt free. Lesson 4. Your vision is worth more than quick cash. The breakthrough. In 2022, Marcus caught a break. A crypto influencer with 1 million followers tested SafeCoin and tweeted about it. "This app just saved me from a rug pull. Kid who made it is legit." The tweet went viral, and SafeCoin's downloads spiked to 100,000 in a month. Marcus quit his delivery job and poured everything into the app. He added features, portfolio analytics, scam alerts, even a chatbot powered by basic AI. He monetized it with a $5 monthly subscription, and by 2023 he had 50,000 paying users, bringing in $250,000 a month. He was 28, and for the first time, he could breathe. He moved his mother into a new house in Shaker Heights, paid off her debts, and hired a small team to help with SafeCoin. But he wasn't done. The crypto world was evolving, and so was he. He saw the rise of NFTs and Web3, the potential for decentralized platforms to disrupt everything from finance to art. He started a second project, a blockchain-based marketplace for digital creators, letting artists sell their work directly to fans without middlemen. Setback 5. The hack. In 2024, disaster struck. A hacker exploited a vulnerability in SafeCoin's code, siphoning $1 million in user funds. The backlash was brutal. Users called him a fraud, and X was flooded with posts demanding refunds. Marcus's reputation, built brick by brick, was crumbling. He hadn't slept in days, his phone buzzing with angry notifications. He could have run, but that wasn't who he was. He went public, admitting the breach and promising to make it right. He used his personal savings, $800,000, to refund users, hired cybersecurity experts, and patched the app. Transparency became his shield. He posted daily updates on X, showing the fixes, taking the heat. Slowly, trust returned. Users came back, impressed by his accountability. By mid-2024, SafeCoin was stronger than ever, with 200,000 paying users and a valuation of $50 million. Lesson 5. Integrity is your currency when everything else fails. The rise. By 2025, Marcus Tate was a name. His marketplace, CreatorChain, launched to rave reviews, connecting thousands of artists with buyers worldwide. It was more than a platform. It was a movement, empowering creators to own their work in a way traditional systems never allowed. Forbes called him the crypto kid who beat the odds, and at 30, he was worth $200 million with SafeCoin and CreatorChain disrupting industries left and right. He bought a penthouse in downtown Cleveland, not far from where he grew up, but he kept it modest. No gold-plated faucets, no fleet of Lambos. He invested in his community, funding tech programs for kids in Hough, hiring locals to work at his startups. Loretta, now retired, spent her days gardening and beaming with pride. Marcus never forgot the lessons. Trust carefully, plan flexibly, learn from failure, protect your vision, and own your mistakes. Epilogue. On a crisp August evening in 2025, Marcus stood on his balcony, the city skyline glittering below. He was rich, yes, but that wasn't the point. Wealth was just a tool, a means to build something lasting. He thought about the kid he'd been, angry, hungry, lost, and realized he'd carried that kid with him every step. The setbacks hadn't broken him, they'd shaped him, each one a chisel carving out the man he'd become. He pulled out his phone, opened X, and typed, 10 years ago, I lost $200 on fake sneakers. Today, I'm proof you can lose and still win. Keep going. He hit post, watched the likes roll in, and smiled. The game wasn't over. It was just beginning.